Many thanks for joining us. Let's begin the bulletin from here. And more than 15 second-hand clothing shops at the June 4th area in the Central Business District have been destroyed by an early morning fire. Firefighters managed to contain the blaze after deploying more than 8 fire engines to the scene. Efforts are still underway to completely douse the flames, although many traders have already lost most of their wares to the incident. Stanley Nibleu is a reporter with a team of firefighters at the scene and will be joining us in the phone with updates on this. We're working the phone to speak to him, but if you just tuned in, more than 15 second-hand clothing shops at the June 4th area in the Central Business District have been destroyed by an early morning fire. Firefighters managed to contain the blaze after deploying more than 8 fire engines to the scene. Efforts are still underway to completely douse the flames, although many traders have already lost most of their wares to the incident. If you're joining us on Facebook, or if you're not, you've seen visuals of the incident on the screen or on our various social media platforms as firefighters go all out to contain the flame, which has destroyed more than 15 second-hand clothing shops at the June 4th area in the Central Business District. And my man, Stanley Nibleu, will be joining us with updates on this. While we are at it, though, let's go to Parliament now, because the controversial anti-LGBTQ plus bill has made a return to Parliament as lawmakers resume sitting today, setting the stage for another heated national debate over rights, culture, and morality. A bipartisan group of 10 members of Parliament, led by Ningo Pram MP, Sam George, and Asin South MP Tim Forjo, has reintroduced the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021. The proposed legislation seeks to criminalize LGBTQ plus activities, its promotion, advocacy, and funding. Offenders face jail terms ranging between 3 and 10 years. The reintroduction comes in the wake of mounting pressure from international organizations and human rights groups against the bill. So let's give you some details of the bill. We'll do that shortly, and also speak to my colleague Christian Yale, who is in the House currently, bringing us a lot more on what this means to the return of the House and even to Ghanaians and all of that. And so while we are doing that, let us also speak to some groups who have always backed the reintroduction of this bill and what this means to them. Mr. Adam Senanu is an executive member of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values. Mr. Senanu, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So you were at the forefront of galvanizing support for the passage of this bill in the last parliament, even though it wasn't signed by the president. What should be the approach this time around as this bill is being laid again for consideration?
Well, I want to believe that the bulk of the heavy lifting was done in the first one. I don't expect that Parliament is going to have to try and do everything again. And I think the Speaker would be so minded. So they probably would do some quick review and maybe address any new things that have come up. In my view, perhaps over the next 6 months, certainly before the middle of next year, they should be able to say they've passed this thing so that it is established.
And the initial legislative process was halted earlier this year following injunctions filed at the Supreme Court challenging the bill's constitutionality, though there was no ruling yet. Now the sponsors are also taking it back. What should be the new thing we should be seeing so that we don't have some of these gaps and others stopping the process?
Many of the so-called challenges were ill-informed as far as we're concerned in terms of whether the government was going to have to spend money on implementation, etc. Those were issues that were well before the committee and the group that were championing this, and they had been resolved. There had been substantive discussions around ensuring that this was not going to tax government any further, etc. So I don't anticipate, if there are new challenges, that's fine, but clearly, in fact, even the challenges themselves because the president had not received the bill at the time, it was a really curious rigmarole. The president had accepted the document, and yet people were saying this is a bill before the president, etc. So I anticipate that this should be able to go through quickly. If there are any challenges, I'm sure Parliament will be able to deal with it.
So maybe before I let you go, it looks like even amongst the public, the fire and the enthusiasm that was there about this bill is gone. Parliament is resuming. How do we get the public and everybody involved so that that fire it had is reignited?
Very important question.
Yeah.
I think that we probably need to, when Parliament starts and tells us which document they'll be proceeding with, if it is what was finalized at the time, the draft bill, we would need to have media working with civil society, the various religious and interested parties, to reignite discussions on the importance of this bill, how it protects our families and our values, how it serves as a platform to ensure that we institutionalize what we believe is right for this society over time. I think we may have to come back to that discussion and make sure that everybody's being carried along.
Right, Mr. Anu, thank you so much for joining us. Adam Anu is an executive member of the National Coalition for Proper Human, Sexual Rights and Family Values. He has been talking to us about the reintroduction of the anti-LGBTQ plus bill and what it means to advocacy and all of that it has come with. Let's go back to that earlier story on the June 4th Lane fire, which has raised down more than 15 second-hand clothing shops in the Central Business District. My colleague Stanley Bleu is joining me in studio for a conversation on this. Stanley, we know you have been to the scene now. Paint for us a picture on what you saw at the scene.
Okay, so Grace, if I should paint a picture, a vivid picture of that cause, you see, on January 2nd this year, the traders of Kantamanto had the shock, or the most shock of their life, when the entire Kantamanto shops were raised down by fire. And this is the second shock that traders within that enclave are experiencing. But even though the extent of damage caused by this inferno could not be compared, or in terms of magnitude, you can't compare that one to what happened on January 2nd. But I should say that traders who are affected are really been affected because they've had their second-hand clothing. Most of them brought in false bills, and they've not actually opened some of them. Some of them have been using shops in that enclave as warehouse, and others also have it as retail shops that they've been operating. And just this dawn, the unfortunate just happened. But we must commend the Ghana National Fire Service because in as much as they got the call, they were able to rush to the scene and deployed more than 8 fire engines or fire tenders to go and douse the fire. As at 4 a.m. this morning, they've been able to confine the fire, which means that the fire wasn't able to spread to other properties, apart from those that were affected. And so they were able to contain that. As I speak, when I was coming back from the scene, they've been able to contain the fire, and they are trying as much as possible to completely douse it so that everybody can go back, and the debris that's has been caused as a result of the inferno ravaging the place could also been collected from the site. Have they been able to establish what caused the fire? In the process, currently, I posed the same question to the Greater Accra Regional Fire Officer, that is ACFO2 Rashid Kwame Nisau, who told me that they are actually working as much as possible to unravel the cause of the inferno. But as I speak, it is early days yet. We can listen to him about what he has been telling me earlier.
Containers that were affected, and then this side of the building that you can see, but we've managed to salvage the edifice that you can see here on my left. We've also salvaged this one there, and we are now doing our cooling. These buildings have a lot of fire load in them. The used clothing are heaped to the ceiling. So when they are burning and there's excessive heat, the signs of collapse of every building is what you are seeing. There will be cracks all over the building, which are signs that the building is about to collapse. So it is the excessive heat that has created what you are seeing. We had one fire officer who had a lot of smoke inhalation and went unconscious, and he was rushed by the ambulance service to the clinic, and as we speak, he's responding to treatment.
Was he not protected?
No, you can be protected. He was in BA all right, but the truth is that sometimes when you don the BA2 for some time, it also you can have its effects too. So that is what has happened. The challenge we faced was one, accessibility was a problem. Even as you speak yourself coming here, you realize that we had a hectic time coming to where we are. Two had to do with water supply to the vicinity. There were no hydrants. The few that were there, the traders had put in their shops and the containers on those hydrants. And that explains why the mayor have directed that the earth-moving machines should come and break those containers and give us access. The next has to do with uncooperative attitude of some of the young men around here who were obstructing firefighting at the beginning, but since we call in the police for assistance, I think that one too has been brought under control. But I hope that things will change for the best and we will not keep long here. Things can change that in the next few hours we'll leave here. Things may not favor us, and about a day or two we'll still be here. But the interesting thing is that there shouldn't be any panic. We have managed to confine the fire. We have brought it under control. No lives have been lost. Adjoining buildings have been protected. And we are here doing the cooling, hoping that in a few hours' time, we'll put the fire finally was extinguished.
Right, so Stanley, talk to us about the challenges the team faced in containing the fire. He touched on a few.
Yes, so if you are somebody that is very conversant with the terrain, I mean the Kantamanto enclave, Kantamanto precisely, and its adjoining trading zones, you could realize that one of the challenges that the fire service or the firefighters could face has to do with the level of accessibility into the seat of the fire, the base of the fire, in order to douse it. But then, when they got there, the place is crowded, and so having access to where the fire was actually raging wasn't easily accessible. So the AMA had
crowded by people who live there or people who came to see the fire.
Both, because you have a lot of people parading themselves as traders who were also obstructing the firefighting process, while the containers, the shops and the containers have also crowded
space.
Great, and so, but in firefighting, one critical component is very essential to the whole course, which is water, access to water to douse it. And in that enclave, you have fire tenders in that area concealed by shops. When I say concealed, they have erected structures on those fire hydrants, so they are not visible or just to be accessed by the firefighters. And so the AMA mayor was around, and he instructed the people to vacate their shops immediately, with immediate effect. They've sent their task force there to ensure that every shop owner who is operating a shop in that enclave vacates the area, and had their bulldozer on standby to bulldoze every container standing in the way of the fire hydrants, so that they can really expose it and then make it available for use by the fire service in times like this. And so we can also listen to the PRO. Yes, that is Gilbert Ankra.
So what is happening now, Mayor has instructed that areas where we have fire hydrants there, we should ensure that all those structures are cleared. Currently, as I speak to you, one of the structures have already been cleared. There is another one within these two shops. We're moving in to ensure that we clear them, and we are working closely with the fire service. They have a map of where the fire hydrants are. We are ensuring that structures on the fire hydrants are cleared. Mayor has directed. So as you can see, that is what is happening. There is one here, so we've asked them to move their wares from the shop so that we will be able to identify the fire hydrants.
So that was the PRO of the AMA, Gilbert Ankra. They're talking to us about new measures to be adopted to stop the frequent fire incidences in various markets. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's go to the Upper East region because the Regional Police Command has launched an investigation into a shooting incident at Garu Township that claimed 4 lives and left 5 others injured on Monday, October 20, 2025. Preliminary investigations indicate that 4 unidentified gunmen on 2 motorbikes shot people in Garu Township at the NHIS office and also fired indiscriminately, resulting in the death and injuries. A statement released by the police today indicates some spent cartridges were retrieved from the scene for forensic examination. The statement further said the bodies of the deceased have since been released to their families for burial, while investigation continues to crack down and arrest the perpetrators to face justice. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Garu, Dr. Thomas Anaba, has condemned the unapproved attack, and he says 4 individuals are battling for their lives in hospital.
It is consistent from what I've received from all courtesies, including citizens or natives of the Garu Township, that 4 people were gunned down and several others injured. Those who were injured were taken to Garu Hospital. Some were taken to other district hospital close, treated, some discharged, but I'm told 4 people are still seriously injured and they are within the Garu Hospital. That is what I've gathered. The assailants, as you heard, came from nowhere, directly went to the National Health Insurance Office to ask for the director of the National Health Insurance, and in his absence, they rather shot one of his staff down and left the place. On their way out, they went to the school, as you said, to shoot down the head teacher and continued on the road to pave their way out of Garu, shooting people on the way to be able to leave Garu. Now,
you said that he went there to ask, or the gunman went there to ask of the National Health Insurance Director at the Garu office.
Yes, that is what exactly happened. Yes. They went and asked of him and they said he wasn't around. Then they saw one gentleman there who was in his office and they shot him and he died instantly at the place. So it became a very sorrowful state. Garu, as we speak now, is in shock. Let me say the whole of Garu is now very alert. And let me thank the youth and everybody for the unity that we saw in Garu today, how they have come together to mobilize to monitor Garu. Garu is a very peaceful town, and we know of Garu is a town that is very observant of people coming in.
Dr. Thomas Sanaba, Member of Parliament for Garu. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's do some other stories now. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has refuted claims by the Attorney General that it is frustrating extradition processes against former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. A Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Shremsai, had earlier alleged that the OSP was yet to provide the investigative docket needed to begin extradition proceedings against Mr. Ofori-Atta, despite several requests for the Attorney General's office. But speaking on TV3's New Day, the Director of Strategy, Research and Communication at the OSP, Samida Akon, said the Attorney General should help and allow the Special Prosecutor's Office to work or collaborate with them to move the process forward.
I'm telling you now is that it's not an issue about a docket. It's an issue about OSP putting documents in a file and giving it to the Attorney General to complete. Let me tell you something. Mr. Ofori-Atta is not the only one that OSP is investigating the SML matter. We have about 22 suspects. Let me explain to you again. As we speak, the OSP is the only independent law enforcement agency that is investigating Mr. Ofori-Atta, that has placed him on Interpol Red Notice. And that is the body that, when he is brought down to Ghana, is going to prosecute him. The OSC has worked tirelessly, even when many people doubted it, including media personnel, when we had said that Mr. Ofori-Atta was just playing hide and seek and did not want to come to Ghana. We have come too far to botch our own operation. We are a specialized institution We are very focused and we know exactly what we are doing.
Okay.
The AG's role in this exercise, there is no back and forth between AG and the OSP.
So how would you react to Seremsai's position?
It is a joint work, and we are working tirelessly to ensure that the right information is boxed up and given to the Attorney General, and that the OSP will do, because OSP has come too far to let it go. What OSP needs now is for the Attorney General to assist the OSP to complete the extradition that will bring Mr. Furiata down to Ghana, for the OSP to prosecute Mr. Furiata. When the matter becomes political, it simply means that it's been put out in the public domain and being discussed as if there is a fight between the OSP and the Attorney General. And I'm telling you now that that does not augur well for Ghana's chance to bring Mr. Furiata back to Ghana. Remember, Mr. Furiata is going to fight this in the U.S. court. Extradition is a court process in another country.
That was Director of Strategy, Research and Communications at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Sami Dako. Let's talk education now. The Mount Carmel Girls Senior High School in the Techiman municipality of the Bono East region saw a major influx of first-year students on Monday as a new academic year officially commenced. While the smooth registration and arrival process drew applause from parents, some students expressed concerns about potential overcrowding within the school's facilities. There's more in the following report.
The new academic calendar began with high turnout of first-year students seeking to access their second cycle education. Parents supervising the process for their wards praised the school's administration for an efficient and well-organized system.
The process is going on smoothly, and it's not anything to hassle. Only a matter of following the process and you go through. And those who came earlier this morning have been sorted out. There are certain things like chalkboards, trunks, and other things. We are asked not to bring it. So that is what we actually have brought. Yes.
However, students voiced their fears of potential overcrowding due to visibly large numbers.
The school is already crowded and we don't even have enough dormitories. The dormitories are also crowded and they've enrolled like over 500 students or less than that. Because as things are going, we can see that there is no accommodation and we are likely to use our own completed chapel as a dormitory.
They urged the contractor to hasten works on the dormitory and dining hall facility.
The contractor also has to be working on our dining hall and uncompleted dormitories. Please, they should be in a haste because we can't use a chapel as a dormitory at the same time and use a dining hall as a chapel.
Over thousands of students come in every year and then there are no places for them. So we are pleading for the government to help us to improve our facilities so that life in this school will be comfortable and enjoyable for us.
In a related development, the Kentahini of the Teachman Traditional Council has offered a timely advice to the arriving students, specifically warning against the misuse of social media.
Well, my colleague in the Bono East region, Belinda's reports there. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PRC, in the Ashanti region has clawed back over 80 million Ghana cedis from utility companies on behalf of aggrieved consumers in just 3 months. The summary of the third quarter activities for the regional office covering up to September 2025 paints a picture of a relentless battle for consumer rights. Ibrahim Abubakar sat through a meeting with the regulator and joins us for more on this. Ibrahim, talk to us. What specific actions did PRC take to force these payouts and recoveries?
So yes, the report, when you look at the past 3 months, the office was flooded with 509 complaints against both ECG and Ghana Water, out of which it was able to successfully resolve 269 for the consumers. And that even amounted to forcing the companies to issue a refund of over 400,000 cedis to consumers who were overcharged and poorly served. Now, on the other aspect also, they managed to help the utility companies retrieve a whopping 80 million Ghana cedis that they were owing. And they are saying that they serve both whilst they try to do everything possible and serve the best interests of consumers. they also have to ensure that the regulators pay the service they offer to consumers. And for that matter, there have been sanctions to some of them. There were instances where they threatened even both regulators and or utility companies and consumers of legal action so that they would be able to pay. So those were the interventions that they had to deploy to make sure that they are able to retrieve those monies and be able to serve them. But even beyond the financial figures, we had PUC intervening to lead to some infrastructure improvement that directly enhance public safety and service reliability. So those are the steps that they are taking just to make sure that as regulators, they will make sure that consumers are served and served well, whilst also forcing consumers to be able to pay the required amount they need to pay to the service providers to be able to also enhance the service delivery. Let's listen to what the public relations officer for the Ashanti region, Beatrice Adu, has been telling us.
With our intervention, we've been able to refund a total amount of 426,291.55 to consumers. These were consumers who were overbilled in their various aspects. But it's being overbilled, they think that the bills that are being given to them doesn't correspond with the kilowatts per hour they've been using at their various homes, and then maybe the readings doesn't tally with that on their meter. On the other hand, the utilities also reported some complaints to us. When I say the utilities, I mean the Ghana Water and the GCG. And within that, the Commission has done a recoveries of 80,632,623.30. Through our intervention, we facilitated the replacement of 940 poles, which were reported to us within the third quarter. We did 7 transformers replacement together with the utilities. With regards to your usage of electricity and water, if you have any challenge that you think you cannot resolve with the utilities or with the consumer, always run to the PURC, and then through our LI, we will also be able to, and our LI and our mandate will also be able to resolve the matters amicably and make sure that our electricity and water issues will be restored.
Well, you had the PRO of the PURC in the Ashanti region talking to us about some actions or measures by the PURC in the Ashanti region to claw back over 80 million Ghana cedis from utility companies on behalf of aggrieved consumers in just 3 months. Earlier, we spoke to our reporter in the Ashanti region, Ibrahim Obaka, who gave us details on this. But that will be all by way of our package for the midday news on 3FM 92.7. It came to you live from our studios here at Adesawe, Kanda, Accra. Before we go, stories that came through as headlines. Early morning fire outbreak destroys several shops at the Kantamanto Tazani Lane within the Central Business District. Also, controversial anti-LGBTQ bill makes a return to Parliament amid bi-partisan push as legislators resume sitting today after nearly 3 months of break. And my name is Grace Hamwajiman. Many thanks for joining us. Up next is Business with Bismarck Ewisa.